Hi everyone, it's Jewels by Jude here, and I got really a good response from the watercolor, so I thought that I would show you guys how to do something a little different. Hope it comes out the way the first one I did came out. And I am still going to use alcohol inks, and I have a few differences, and we're going to see how it comes out. So let me explain to you that I have a black sheet of Primo here on my thickest spread out. The size doesn't matter as long as what you eventually cut out of your watercolor pieces, you have enough clay to cover that. So in other words, whatever it is you decide to do with this sheet of watercolor clay, then you're good. Because what I'm going to use are some cutters, and then I'm going to put a necklace together with that. The differences today will be with the black and the white and the translucent. Now I have this little piece of translucent, and it's all I have left from the cane that I did from my first video of the watercolor necklace. Okay, when I get done with this, it'll be so thin, hopefully you'll barely be able to see it. But just to refresh your memory, or if you haven't seen the video, please watch it. It was I thought it was a good one. So anyhow, it's just a pearl, and it's white, and it's translucent, and it's a white translucent, and it is a translucent, and it is a pearl clay. And I made a cane out of it, and it did not look like this. It looked like a regular cane. So I cut it into pieces, rolled it out, and this is thick, but I'm going to leave it like this for now because it'd be really hard for me to handle later if I didn't, because the oven is running and it's warm in here, and it's going to be god awful to handle after I roll it through there as thin as I can. So I just got it started. So, but however, I did get these two done, and this is my white Primo and my black Primo. So what we're going to do is this is going to be underneath of my white, and essentially going to do the same exact thing as we did in the beginning of the other video, and that was to apply some alcohol inks and let it dry. So that's what we're going to do. Now what I use are these applicators. They're Jim Holtz alcohol ink applicator felt, and this is the stamp, and you just use this. Now the one thing I am going to do is a little bit different from the last time is I feel I didn't change this pad enough, and I want to start with my lightest colors, let it dry, and then go over gently with my darker colors. It's very strong. I don't want to put too much alcohol to thin it out, which is what we all know we can do if we've been working with alcohol inks. If not, then watch and you'll see what I mean. So I'm going to use a little bit of this yellow, and I apologize, I'm going to just have to call it yellow because it's such a mess. And alcohol inks can be a mess because what's happening is when we lift the lid back up, a lot of times it's, I'm just a messy person. I'm not going to even try. Alright, so here we go. I'm just going to dab some color on here. Okay, and this is yellow. I don't think it's gold. I don't think it's gold. I think it's yellow. Okay. Now, what I don't want is too much contrast and too much changing. So I'm going to take this pad off. Oh, let's just wave it a little bit. In fact, if we just go ahead and grab another color, we might be better off doing it that way. So anyhow, I decided to do this because I wanted to do one with the black. And when you tear off the sheets after you make your watercolor and you place them on top of each other, the black will come out instead of the white. And again, I think you'll understand it a little bit better when I show you. So let me put a little bit of blue on here, or purple or turquoise. Let's see. This looks like it's a blue. Some of these I haven't used in a while, so Now see how dark this is? Well, let me tell you something. There is a way of making this very, very light if you so choose to. And we might at the end here. So it will be a blend. Right now we're just applying. And as I said, I wanted to use different sheets. I'm sorry, different sheets of felt. So it will turn a little green here and there, and I'm hoping that there'll be some that don't. And there probably will be, because if you're looking, you can see where it's turning green because of the colors blend to green, blue and the yellow. Okay, but see, if you see them right in here, it's still blue. I think that looks kind of cool. But a watercolor is, it meshes and melts together. So hoping that adding some ink, or I'm sorry, adding some plain old alcohol, rubbing alcohol, is going to blend that together. And you got to remember that, you know, it is strong. So if you let it set, it's going to stay solid just like that, and then some of it will blend. So we will just go as we go and see how it comes out. This looks more like a pink. Yes, it certainly is. And this is a nice, nice color. Very nice color. It's like a pink. Yeah, when you're doing yours, you choose your own colors. I want to fill it in nice and good and see if I can get it to smear a bit. See how it goes. Not too bad. I'm kind of liking this one. And I'm hoping to lighten it up a little bit. And I don't think I'm going to add any more color to it. This one here, it's just like anything you do for the first time. You learn from your mistakes and you move on. You know, it isn't a big deal. None of it is a big deal. You'll survive, I promise. At least this, anyway. So my next thing I need to do is place my white on top of my black. Now these are very sticky together because they're very conditioned, and my room is very warm, primarily because of my oven. My polymer clay oven in the back. My designated polymer clay oven. I like it. Looks a little bit Easter to me. I don't know why, but it does. Now, what I'm going to do here is, because I'm not sure how much of this I'm going to use. I want to use it all, if I can. So I'm going to join it together. And I guess I could have gotten the clays together before this, but I did. Well, I'll be honest, I wasn't sure what I was going to do when I started, and a lot of us are like that. So at least I noticed that. I'm not alone. Let's put it to you this way. So I'm just going to attempt to apply as much of my watercolor to my black as I can, and then we're going to talk about what to do next. The watercolor on it. I'm going to roll it out a little. Just to make sure it adheres to the black, the white to the black. And it's thin. It's thinner than, the black is definitely thinner than the white. Okay? I might use this. Let's see if I can get a little bit more of that black to show. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this translucent and I'm going to take this sucker and try to get this as thin as I humanly possibly can. Now I have an atlas, just a regular rolling atlas that I got at an estate sale, and I'm using it now. So now I had to start back at 1 because it wasn't working. So now I'm back on 3. We'll go, and now I'm on 4. There we go, we're getting there. Let me see what I got, okay? Let's check it out. Getting there. It's still not where I want it, so I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep trying to get it thinner. Okay. Alright, this is as thin as I'm going to get my translucent today. Now what I'm going to do is what I did the last time, because I had very good success with that. This is very, very interesting. Let's see it at least. Okay. Now this has to be put through the machine for several different reasons, and that's where we are at right now. I'm going to trim this up. Once I trim this up, I am going to put this through my pasta machine. It has a lot of, see that? It has a lot of bubbles in it, so I'm going to go back up to number 1, but I'm going to try to make sure I keep the thickness and the width. And if you don't know how to do that, you need to look that up. Really, basically, as you're trying to control how your clay spreads out. So I want to try to keep as much as that width as possible. Now, it's not going to stay the same thickness because I have 3 layers I've applied to it since, but it still should be very similar to that width, and it is. Now, in this warm, beautiful room of mine, I let my clay rest, and the color came through beautifully with this watercolor, and that's what I'm going to do today. So tomorrow is when I will start to work with this clay again, or later this evening. So hopefully you can see where the color is starting to come through. Well, I feel like when this room, because it is warm as it is, will begin to very much pick up this color, pick these colors up through this translucent. I put it through the machine once, and I'm not sure if I'm going to. Now I'm not trying to get this cool. I'd like it to stay warm for right now, so that's why I'm not going to put it in the refrigerator. And this room is kind of warm anyway, so it's not hot, it's warm. So I'm hoping, like I said, that these colors, and I can already see that they are. I look down again and I can see that I'm beginning to see how the colors are gelling together, with the translucent. And okay, now it's been overnight, and we're going to first start with this piece here. Now, all I'm going to do is try and get this layered on top of itself, like so. And maybe move down in one direction. I don't like the way that looks. There we go. So that some of the black comes through. And I think if I were to do this again, I might not use this type of translucent cane on this particular one. But I think it'll work fine. So it's working now. But I'm just going to work down in this fashion. I will eventually flatten this out so that we can get our cutter on there properly and make sure that it's what we like, what we want it to be. So in this instance, it looks like some of the black is going to come through, some of the white, depending on the end and what end you have. And I do like that pearl. So I think if I were to redo the translucent, if I were to redo the translucent, I would still keep the pearl in. I just wouldn't do a cane. And you can see this is just a very random way of doing this. I'm not putting these on any real way. I just want to layer it on top, and that's where you're going to get be able to see the white if you're using all white, and then here you can get to see both because I have the black on top of the white, and then as you saw earlier in the video how we created the rest of it. So when you layer this like this, you should be able to see some of the black come through here and there. Reminds me a little bit maybe of an eggshell technique or some sort, because you see the edges like that. Too small. And I wouldn't go too big and I wouldn't go too small, but I think both have its place in this pattern, because the black can come through either way, but just make sure you layer it in a way that it is on top of itself, because that's what's going to give you that effect, and you'll be able to see where some of this black is coming through, and you can look in different directions, I think, to see that black. And it's not going to be proportionate to itself. In other words, it's not going to be all black, and in my instance I'm not layering it in one direction. I'm just doing it randomly. Here from in that video that you can use alcoholics, so along with a lot of different things, mica, gelatas or something like that. I don't know what that is. I don't know. I haven't gotten that. Probably acrylic too, but the acrylic, it takes a lot more dry time, you might say, and in that case I think I would rather just invest in the alcohol ink, and use a technique similar to what I used in the beginning of the video, you can also use cotton balls and cotton swabs. You know, I don't think you have to buy the tools that I used. I just happened to come across them or get a good deal. I can't even remember because I use them a lot on my domino jewelry, and I haven't done that in a while. I'll have to do some more videos on that. Well, let me do this little piece here too. Might as well, because I have a big piece still left over there, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that. Alright, now what I'm going to do is take my roller, my cleaner one, and I'm just going to roll across this a little bit. Hopefully this will start making this one again. And the object is to get it to be back to one sheet. There's my rings, sorry. That really looks cool. It's really starting to look cool. You can see how the 3D looks. So, now you have your sheet of watercolor. So, what I'd like to do is, I do believe I'd like to do Jilly's cutters. And I just have to decide on how I want it to do, how I want to do it. So, I want to try not to waste too much of this. And I really don't need, I think I need to stay out of that big black blotch there, but that's about it. These are the two larger ones. I'm not sure I'm going to use that. I don't want to make it too big. So, I will still probably have enough for beads. I'm not going to use plastic on this because I don't want to disrupt the placement of my cutters, and I didn't put the plastic on first, so I'm going to wing this without the plastic. What you can do is just going to take a little more sanding and rounding. Sure to press down really good before I lift this back up. I'm definitely going to make beads with this. Such a pretty effect. And I think the pearl makes a difference in the translucent, I really do. But I also think that if you were going to use mica, you would also have that pearl-like effect. Now what I'm going to do is put my pieces aside up here so that I can use them. And this is just randomly placed, as you can see. That's not how I'm going to put it together. I'm going to make it one when I get done with it. One piece. And I got this little piece of foil in here. And it's funny because it's like, come on. Where did I pick that little booger up at? It probably stuck to one of the cutters or the tile or something. And when you do this, it's very hard not to do that. And it's just enough to drive you a little crazy. So there we go. Don't go too hard on this. You don't want to change the shape of it. But if you want to take your fingerprints out and make sure you don't have anything too lumpy going on before you put it into bake, that now would be the time to do a little bit more burnishing. Okay? And there we go. In she goes. Okay guys, my next step real quick is going to be putting it back on my piece, and I'm going to show you that this is the back, looks like now. That was from the actual watercolor as you watched it play out. Now I'm putting a little bit of Kato liquid clay, and it is let me see if it's clear. I think it's clear. Oh yeah, it is. It's clear. So what I'm going to do is make this into a pendant that you guys I think seen me do before, and it's very easily done. So I just want you to see how I'm making this. So that is what I'm doing, just to make sure that this guy don't go anywhere after I bake it again. You can hear my beads ticking away, so I'm gonna have to wait on this baby. But this is essentially how you do it. And after it bakes, I will show you what the back looks like. We'll examine the piece, sand the piece. I think it's beautiful. I love these colors. Love, love, love.